Leading a disease-free life means taking simple everyday steps to keep your body and mind healthy. It involves eating nutritious food, staying physical active, getting enough sleep, managing stress, and avoiding harmful habits like smoking or pre-eating junk food. Cleanliness and regular health checkups also play a big role in preventing illness. By making healthy choices, you can boost your immunity and enjoy a more energetic, active, and happy life. About SEMS. SEMS Welfare Foundation, a registered non-profit organization, is dedicated to social impact across various sectors. We focus on education, particularly skills development and entrepreneurship. Throughout Didi Saksham, we have created training program in IT, finance, retail, and entrepreneurship, impacting over 6,000 individuals. We are currently upskilling in Haryana jails and collaborating with universities and colleges. We have also partnered with the bank to place over 1,500 candidates in job. In just a short time, SEMS has established itself as a force for positive change, equip individuals with skills for employment, and promoting women's leadership in various industries. This session is organized by Digi Saksham. Digi Saksham is a company that empowers business throughout data and technology. We offer a wide range of services including IT, software, data science, research, data analysis, and marketing. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speakers, Mr. Sanjay Banerji. Sanjay Banerji Sanjay Banerjee is an ultra certified mountaineer and author of four books: Cross the Finishing Line Running, The Mountaineering Handbook, Nobody Dies Tonight, Fitness in the COVID-19 Pandemic, a novel, Justice on the Hills, based on the amount of Gokarland, translated into the Nepali, Germany, French, and various other languages, and three short stories, Guardians of Nathulal Krishan for with the team and a journey of friendship and trims of published in the three. He recently became on 7th March 2024 at 64 years the oldest Indian with the four medical conditions to summit the highest point of African continent of Mount Kil on 19,341 feet early in 2021. Sanjay sir became the oldest Indian at 61 years to complete the basic mountaineering course with the A grade. Sorry, sir. He retired on 31st December 2020 as General Manager Corporate Image for Johnson Limited and lives in Bhopal with his wife. Sanjali has run out several marathons and ultra marathons on different on the roads, forest hills, high altitude, and the sides of stadiums. At the age of 59 in 2019, he became the oldest Indian to run three of the biggest marathon events in Asia in Mumbai, Kolhapur, and Singapore. On the behalf of the now over to you, sir.
Okay, then I'll begin. There were some glitches. Today we are going to talk about how to lead a disease-free life. A little bit has been told about me. So I'm 65 years of age and I'm an author of fitness books and a mountaineer and a marathon runner. Even now I do running on a regular basis and exercise also. And last year I climbed the highest point of the African continent, that is Mount Kilimanjaro. And this year in August I'll be climbing the highest point of the European continent, that is Mount Elbrus in Russia. So there is something which I wanted to tell all of you is that it's not difficult if you want to lead a healthy and disease-free life, regardless of your age. The earlier, the better. If you are young, say below 40s, you need to follow a regular schedule of physical exercise, proper nutrition, and a stress-free life. Sometimes mid-career, it may be a little difficult because we all feel stressful during our careers, but it's something you will have to cope with, and with the proper mindset, you can definitely go ahead. And for those who are coming to the 50s and 60s or even beyond, like me, it may become a little more difficult to remain fit if you already don't have a regular healthy habit. So what I try to say is that you start exercising, the earlier the better. And even if you have never exercised in your life, you can start now, whatever age group. So let's start on this wonderful program, How to Lead a Disease-Free Life. Some of the aspects which I'll be covering will be importance of physical exercise, nutrition and diet, mental health and stress management, preventive healthcare, learning to cope with medical conditions, and some personal stories of human resilience. Now, importance of physical exercise. There are basically 5 aspects of fitness. Now, They are cardiovascular endurance. Cardiovascular endurance is something in which you have a healthy heart, and any form of exercise will have an effect on your heart. And if you have a healthy heart, you can do your physical activities very well. So, cardiovascular endurance is the ability of the cardiovascular and respiratory system to transport oxygenated blood to the skeletal muscles for an extended time frame without feeling the effects of fatigue. Cardiovascular endurance is important since without it, muscular endurance cannot be challenged. Once cardiovascular fatigue sets in, it is impossible to use the body's muscular strength. This is the reason while some of you who do running events like a 10K or a marathon, if your lungs are not receiving enough oxygen, your legs will get tired. So it's like that. Second aspect of fitness is your muscular endurance. Muscular endurance is the ability of a skeletal muscle or a group of skeletal muscles to continuously contract at normal levels for an extended length of time without getting exhausted. Whenever I give examples of physical fitness, I always come back to running because this is a basic core exercise. Some of you may say that running may appear to be too arduous or stressful, but I say walking. Then you proceed to jogging or slow running. That's the very core of all types of exercises. Basically, if you want to know what are the best forms of exercise, I would say three: running, cycling, swimming. These are my core exercises. A lot of you would say yoga also. In yoga, you have cardiovascular fitness exercises like pranayam, and you can also do flexibility exercises. But remember, if you want to have a good heart, you need to go out and start moving on the roads. This is the best form of cardiovascular fitness, even better than just doing weight training or weightlifting and exercises in the gym. Better than that. Now, coming back to muscular endurance, I would suggest that you could do exercises for about 45 minutes per session, at least 5 to 6 times a day. Some form of physical exercise, running, cycling, swimming, volleyball, the badminton, any form of outdoor sports. Now, after muscular endurance is musculoskeletal strength. This is described as the ability of a group of skeletal muscles to generate force in one maximum contraction. A decrease in this component of fitness leads to the body to early generation such as osteoarthritis and spondylitis. Weakness of the musculoskeletal system also exposes the body to a high risk of injuries while performing any task involving force against resistance, like running a half marathon on a tar road without hurting your knees, ankles, or lower back. And the fourth and very important part of the 5 aspects of fitness is flexibility. Basically, flexibility is the capability of the body to sustain a full and complete range of motions around the joints. This is achieved by not allowing the skeletal muscles to lose their elasticity. Adequate flexibility is necessary to prevent injuries. A stiff muscle that has lost all its elasticity is more likely to tear in the event of a movement trying to go through a full range of motions around a joint. And now the last aspects of fitness is the ideal body composition. If you have an ideal body composition, you can say 50% of your problems are over. And what is the best way to check this? I would just give a small exercise. If you have a pen and paper, you can do your calculation right now. It's basically the formula for the ideal body composition. It's called body mass index. Now, body mass index is basically, there is a formula for it. It's weight in kgs divided by your height in meters square. So someone like me, for example, my weight is 69 kgs and my height in meters is 1.68 meters. So the formula of BMI is 69 divided by 1.68 into 1.68, which comes to 24.4. Now the body mass index states the ideal figure would be between 18.5 to 24.9. The tendency of going overweight would be 25 to 29.9, and if those sort of using a undiplomatic word, if you are on the heavier side or obese, is 30 or greater. So this is the formula. So you can do this at your home also, or right now also. Have a pen and pencil. Weight divided by your height square. That's it. So if you are between 18.5 to 24.9 or 25, you are okay, basically. Now, coming to other aspects of fitness, first you need to have some idea about how our body moves around. And one is the mechanics of breathing. Basically, you breathe in oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. So whatever oxygen you breathe in goes through your nasal cavity, through the thorax, into the lungs, and into the various bronchioles inside your lungs, where the oxygen is transmitted into your bloodstream and it keeps your body moving. It's a very simple thing. And I'm not going into too much of detail about that. But this is what you need to breathe. So it is ideal if you could do some breathing exercises every day. This is where I would say yoga comes in very useful. So do those exercises every day. Simple. You can go to Google or you can consult a yoga teacher, because you need to have a healthy pair of lungs. And as I always said, the best way to get a healthy pair of lungs is to run. Start by walking, then for 20 minutes. If you are a couch potato, if you are already walking, it's okay. Then you should start walking 5 minutes and running 5 minutes until you can actually run 20 minutes. If you can run 20 minutes, half the battle is won. Continue and try and run for 30 minutes. That is sufficient if you are not embarking on any sort of competitive sports. If you are into competitive sports, you can always do higher, especially if you are onto running marathons like me. Even due to my age now, I wish to tell all of you that I have a lot of health issues. But what I do is I try to combat them and adjust with those problems and continue a healthy lifestyle. One is I've got type 2 diabetes. Now, the first question you would say is that if for a person who's running so much, how did you get diabetes? There is something known as genetic diabetes. That is something you get from your parents or your ancestors. So this is something which you can't avoid. It will happen. So even if you do exercises, you can get genetic diabetes. Now, I'm not perturbed. I have got genetic diabetes. So I try to control the diabetes. That is important. Second problem which I have is I've got ocular hypertension in my eyes. So I just put drops thrice a day for the rest of my life. I'll have to do it, because if I don't do it, I could go blind. But with this problem, also, I've been continued running for many years. And this problem was detected at the age of 40. I'm 65 now. And the third, I had a skin ailment on my sole of my feet when, say, as an 8 or 9 year old. I've been taking medications and it's okay. So with proper medication, it was under control. And I'm running even now. Every Sunday, I do 10 kilometers, 5 or 10. And my last marathon, which I ran, that is a distance of 42 kilometers, was last year in January. And I intend to continue doing this, but very less. Now I'll be running mostly 10 kilometers and half marathons. That is 21-kilometer distance. And another problem which I have is partial deafness. I am 70% deaf in both my ears. I've got a hearing aid. I can hear all of you. If I remove the hearing aids, I can't hear anything. So what I want to tell all of you is a person like me at the age of 65 with ocular hypertension, type 2 diabetes, with hearing problems is able to lead a stressful and healthy lifestyle. So why not you? So this is what I'm going to discuss today. Now, after we have discussed about the 5 aspects of fitness, mechanics of breathing, I want to talk to you about exercise and longevity. Because if you lead a healthy lifestyle, you will be able to live a longer life, because older fit individuals have many of the functional characteristics of younger people. It could be argued that improved physical fitness retards the aging process and thus offers some protection to health and possible longevity in later life. For most people, physical activity also protects one from heart attack and stroke. Although it is well established that one's level of physical activity is associated with health risk, an important question is to whether a sustained increase in regular activity reduces the risk of disease. Due to lifestyle changes and heart disease, it is important to become more physically active on a regular basis and at the same time reduce your health risks by quitting smoking, reducing body weight, and controlling blood pressure. Various personal characteristics and environmental factors that are related to susceptibility to coronary heart disease have been identified during the past 30 years. The following is a list of the more frequent risk factors that identify men and women and children at high or low risk for coronary heart disease. It seems logical to assume that elimination or reduction of one or more of these risk factors will cause a corresponding decrease in the probability of contracting coronary heart disease. These are the problems which can come in and create a problem in your heart. One is if you don't have a proper diet, if you have elevated blood lipids, hypertension, smoking, high uric acid levels, sedentary lifestyle, obesity, diabetes, tension, and stress. Aerobic exercise prevents coronary heart disease as follows: improves myocardial circulation and metabolism to protect the heart from hypoxic stress, establishes more favorable blood clotting characteristics, normalizes the blood lipid profile, alters heart rate and blood pressure so that heart functions more effectively during exercise, provides a favorable outlet to psychological stress. For an adult, World Health Organization recommends at least 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intense aerobic physical activity or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous intensity training like running. There are some things which you can avoid to lead a healthy lifestyle. They're simple things, but you need to follow them. You don't really have to work very hard at it. Take them point by point and start introducing it in your lifestyle. Eat more nuts, cashew, nutmeg, almonds. Avoid overeating. Eat plenty of healthy plant foods, vegetables, leafy green vegetables. Do not smoke. Moderate your alcohol intake or totally eliminate it. Prioritize your happiness. Avoid chronic stress and anxiety. Nurture your social circle. Drink less coffee and tea. Sleep well. That is very important. And there is one important thing which we mostly avoid, and this is the reason why we become stressful. That is, most of us in our busy life, we compromise on the number of hours we sleep. Because what happens is sleep gets the least priority because that is something which happens at the end of the day. So you keep trying to doing things, some of them healthy, some of them unhealthy. And then at night you keep saying that, okay, I've got a little more waking hours left. Let me complete my work. And in the process, we end up, some of us sleeping only 4 to 5 hours a day, which is extremely dangerous. And I'll tell you some reasons that the importance of sleep, why sleep is so very, very important. For any sportsman, any sports person to reach his or her potential, she must follow a training program that incorporates training methods like speed workouts, gym workouts. However, one of the most important parts of an effective training program is when a sports person or somebody who is doing recreational activities in sports is seemingly doing nothing at all. And that is when the body is sleeping. The most important part of a good night's rest is because it is when you sleep that your body is getting repaired. The injuries which have happened during the past few days are getting repaired, and a lot of process takes place during sleeping when you actually get the benefit when you wake up next morning. By staying up late and not sleeping properly, a person makes it impossible for the body to adequately repair itself. Sleep is essential for maintaining a healthy immune system, body temperature, and blood pressure. Without enough of sleep, we cannot regulate our moods or recover swiftly from injuries. There is no muscle growth during training workouts. In fact, after a hard speed session or long run, the muscles are broken down and contain small micro tears. The body has the ability to repair the muscle and actually make it stronger so that it can withstand future workouts. However, this rebuilding occurs primarily during sleep. When sleeping, the body's temperature and heartbeat lowers and the entire body enters a stage of relaxation. During the deepest stages of sleep, which is called rapid eye movement, which lasts actually for just 2 or 3 hours, the body releases growth hormones to repair muscle tissue. The muscles are paralyzed during this time to allow maximum repair. So sleep is very important if you want to lead a healthy lifestyle. Some normal things which you should remember when you are looking for a good night's rest: use have a comfortable bed, comfortable bedding, pillow, mattress. Avoid light disruptions. Don't have any lights. Switch off all the lights when you sleep. Cultivate peace and quiet, keeping noise to a minimum when you are going to sleep. Find an agreeable temperature. Don't want it to be too warm or too cold. And if you can put a light sort of scent in the room, which you can calm your senses as you go to sleep. So something like essential oils with natural aromas, such as lavender or eucalyptus mint. Set a fixed wake up time. If you set a fixed wake up time, you will be able to maintain the number of hours you want to sleep. So, like if you go to sleep at 10 o'clock, try and wake up by 6 o'clock. 8 hours is sufficient rest for the human body. And be careful with naps, like some people sleep in the afternoon. Don't go. Keep the best hours of your sleep for night. If you can, sleep for 1 hour or half an hour in the afternoons. Those who have the luxury of doing so. Lower the lights and disconnect from devices like your mobile phone and laptop before going to sleep, and monitor your caffeine intake. Caffeine intake is caffeine will disrupt your sleep. So avoid taking tea, coffee before you go to bed. At least 2 hours before your bed, you should not have anything like coffee and tea, because caffeine will disrupt your sleep. And be mindful of alcohol also, because it can introduce drowsiness in some, but it affects the brain in ways that can lower your sleep quality. Do not eat a heavy meal 2 hours before you sleep. If you are going to sleep at 10 o'clock, try and have your meal by 7:30 or latest by 8, 2 hours before. And reserve your bed for sleep only, because a lot of people, what they do, especially take a laptop and they work during the day on bed. I have seen persons who are working from home, they don't even sit on the table. They just lie down and work on the laptop, sitting or lying down on the bed. It's the very wrong way of leading a lifestyle. If you want to lead a healthy lifestyle, you need to get up. If you're working, whether it is at home or in the office, you need to be sitting up on a chair and doing your work. Lying down on the bed is for sleeping only. Now, a little bit about exercise and longevity. As I've told you earlier, the longer you exercise, the better it will be for your body, and you will also be able to sleep well and live longer. So exercise and longevity is very important aspect of leading a healthy lifestyle. I've covered some of the things earlier, so I won't go about it again. Yeah, I've covered it. And one important aspect before we come to basically the diet. Now, a lot of people say that that I'm having an unhealthy diet. So what is the best diet? The best diet would be around 60% of carbohydrates, which consists of rice and roti and vegetables and fruits. 30% would be protein. If you are a pure vegetarian, you could have your lentils are also protein. Soya beans is also protein. Beans is also protein. So these are proteins. And you can also have legumes and fruits. And 10% is fat. Now, fat consists of milk and some of the cooking oils which you use for food, that also consists of fat. And the yolk of an egg is also fat. So basically, it is 60% carbohydrate, 30% protein, and 10% fat. And there are some myths about carbohydrates. People say that if you have too much of carbohydrates, you become fat. It's not true. Carbohydrates is very necessary portion of your diet and the maximum portion of your diet. But there are some myths on carbohydrates, which I want to clarify now. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Hello. So, what are these myths on carbohydrates? Carbohydrates are basically consists of sugar, starches, and fibers. Yeah. Somebody wants to talk? If there is somebody who wants to ask a question, you can also ask me a question, or we leave it a little later after I finish the session. Yeah. So the carbohydrate consists of sugars like glucose, fructose, galactose, and they include these sugars are found in candy, desserts, and processed foods. Then you have starches that are basically complex carbohydrates. Your body needs these starches, which are ultimately converted into sugar, and all sugar and all these items are converted into glucose ultimately in your body. And fibers is another form of carbohydrate. Your body cannot break down most fibers. So fiber is found in many food that comes from plants, including fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, and whole grains, barley, oatmeal, ground grains. Now, the first myth is that having these carbohydrates make you put on weight. The fact is quite the opposite. Nutritionists say that carbohydrates can actually help people lose weight or maintain a healthy weight. One of the reasons is due to the fiber content in carbohydrates. Fiber keeps you full and invigorated. Sometimes overeating white bread and rotis are not going to help anyone lose weight. Limiting carbohydrate means loading up on protein and fats, which are much higher in calories, though which may add to the weight gain instead of the carbohydrates themselves. The fact is that carbohydrates do not cause instant weight gain. Carbohydrates are not naturally high in fat, but it is the cooking process that adds fats and calories. Your daily carbohydrate intake needs to be based on your calorific intake. If you know how many calories you need each day, you can find out how many grams of carbohydrates you need. Start by determining your daily calorie need and divide that number in half. That is how many calories should come from carbohydrates. For example, a person who eats approximately 2000 calories per day should take in about 250 grams of carbohydrates. That is the calculation. Each gram of carbohydrate has 4 calories. Divide the number you get from the first step by 4. Now, another myth is that carbohydrates are difficult to digest. This may be true for certain foods. Foods higher in insoluble fiber, like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and other vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, are more difficult to dissolve in the digestive tract and can be the reason for a stomach upset. Soluble fibers found in whole grains, bananas, and certain vegetables like peppers and cucumbers are the right carbohydrates to get your digestive system back on track. If you are concerned about your digestive system, consider modifying your diet. Protein is more important than carbohydrate if you are leading an active lifestyle and are constantly training your muscles like track and field events, weightlifting, or individual sports events or team sport events. It is commonly acknowledged that a diet higher in carbohydrates and lower in protein can kickstart the body's metabolism even more. Moreover, protein and carbohydrates work harmoniously to help you process sugar. Eating a combination of protein and vegetables can prevent glucose from spiking after the meal. Carbohydrates should not be taken just before you exercise. So normally before you go for a sporting event, like whether you're participating in a team event or you're going for a solo event, you must have a small meal about before 1 hour before the event. And there's another misconception that consuming too many carbohydrates will make you feel tired and unproductive. That is not true. And carbohydrates are not good for maintaining blood sugar. That is also another problem. And one thing that I want to tell all of you is, especially in your food materials, what you eat, there are certain high glycemic foods and there are low glycemic foods. High glycemic food digest easily and are converted into sugar in your body, like sugar itself, white bread, potatoes, white rice. Then medium glycemic foods, sweet corn, bananas, raisins, multigrain bread, and low glycemic foods are chickpeas, kidney beans, raw carrots, and lentils. So in the end, it can safely be assumed that carbohydrates are not bad. In fact, many nutritionists say you are not to be eating carbohydrates as long as you're eating the right kind of carbohydrates and do so in moderation. Basically, carbohydrates should constitute between 60 to 65% of your diet. In a 2000 calorie diet, that would be 225 to 325 grams of carbohydrates each day. The general assumption is that a low carbohydrate diet can help you lose weight, but only if you diet the right way. Now, coming to certain other aspects of our talk today is how do you sort of manage your mental health and stress management is very simple. Avoid stressful moments in life. Like if you are in a career, you have some sort of unpleasant episode during the day with your colleague or with your senior. Be very pragmatic in life and don't take it to heart, Try to solve the matter within yourselves. If you cannot, then open up to a mentor or a close friend, take advice because stress is something which can be avoided by you yourself. You can't tell others to remove stress from yourself. If you are stressful, you need to remove that harmful aspect of your life. So as you approach each day in the morning, say to yourself that I will not be stressful today. And during your course of your career, your relationships with different people, and also within your family, it is very important to remain stressful, to remove stress from your life. And this can be done quite easily, very easily. So you have to work at it. Is there anybody who wants to talk? I mean, ask a question. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I think Dr. S. Chitra wanted to say something. Can you all of you hear me? Hello. Okay. Hello. Yeah. Since we are coming to the close of our session, I would also would like to talk to you about, that to stay motivated in your life, to remain stressful in your life, to remove all harmful stresses from your body. It is important to stay totally motivated. And how to stay motivated? By looking up or reading about people who are very sort of inspiring people. Yeah. So three persons I would like to just mention randomly. I'm just telling you is one is about Stephen Hawking. Hello, can you all of you hear me? Yeah, yeah. One very influential person I could say is Stephen Hawking, was a renowned physicist who was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. At the age of 21, he got it, and he lived up to the age of 76. Basically, he was paralyzed. His whole body was paralyzed from neck down. He had to speak through a microphone attached on his thoracic, on his body itself, and he had to talk through a computer. So these are one person, that he had so much a problem and a very sort of harmful disease, but yet he lived up to the age of 76. Another person I would like to talk about is Helen Keller, who lost her sight and hearing when she was 19 months old. She is famous for her remarkable life as an author, political activist, and lecturer. She worked for the rights of people with disabilities, especially the blind and deaf blind, and for overcoming the limitations of her own blindness and hearing. She learned how to communicate through Braille, and she fought for workers' rights, racism, and founded her American Civil Liberties Union. Then there are so many other people whom you will keep, reading about and seeing in your life. People with men and women with disabilities who have done remarkable things. So there are so many of them. Now, there is one mountaineer by the name of Arunima Sinha who lost her left leg in an accident, and using an artificial left leg, she climbed the highest point on earth, Mount Everest. So these are stories which, if you keep reading about them, you get motivated, and you learn that a lot of people with a lot of physical handicaps have been able to do remarkable things in life.